Hi there, I'm Blake, and my parents abandoned me at a circus, and they live to regret it. Shout out to 13th Full Moon for today's story. Watch until the end and comment your title ideas for the follow-up of this story or for a different one. We'll pick the most unique ones. If you can't think of a title, make sure to like the ideas you prefer in the community section, and enjoy the video. My parents weren't poor, but they were very, very stingy. All the money they made, they put it in a secret trap door under their bed, and nobody was allowed to ever move it.
It's for a rainy day, not for buying you toys.
I just wanted a life like other kids. Unfortunately, I was a sickly kid, and all I ever saw were the 4 white walls of the hospital. Some of my childhood friends even joked that I saw that place more than I saw my own room at home. My other brother, Gideon, was the complete opposite of me. He was tall, strongly built, and no illness ever touched him. He was a model child, and that's why whenever my parents bought gifts or something special to eat, it always went to Gideon. If I ever got anything, it was either a cake he'd already smashed and grown tired of, or a toy he'd already broken. Gideon would make fun of me for the way I looked. I was skinny and gaunt, and I had deep circles around my eyes.
Look, Ma! Blake looks like a ghost! Ugh! Ma, make him stop! He's doing that thing with his arms again! I think Blake's broken! Why don't you just throw him away?
I was a bit of a contortionist. I could will my limbs to every which way, and I know it freaked Gideon out. That was the only way I could get him to leave me alone. When I turned 8, I became sicker and sicker. I was in and out of the hospital more than I usually was, and finally Gideon's remark from before came true. I knew something was off that night. Whenever the family would go out on the weekend, I was never a part of it. They never took me to see movies or to have a day at the amusement parks. But that night, they took me to the circus. My doubts were suddenly pushed aside when I saw the trapeze act, and the high wire, and the people who stood on gigantic stilts. They mesmerized me. The music and the smells and the oohs and ahs. The applause, I had never seen anything like it before. All I could do was watch and wonder, until I realized that the crowd had gone, and with it, my parents. I screamed. I yelled for them. I frantically ran around the grounds, bumping into people and tugging at strangers' hands, only to find out that they weren't Mom or Dad. And then, when the crowds had cleared and the last of the circus goers had left, I had no other choice. I sat down in a corner and cried. I bawled my eyes out and sobbed like a baby, until a massive hand shook my shoulders. I looked up to see the ringmaster in all his glory. He was tall and big and dressed up all in red and gold. Behind him, 2 girls in glittery clown makeup smiled a worried smile. They freaked me out at first. I never liked clowns. But these ones were nice and offered me ice cream. "What's up, kid? You okay?"
No, I lost my parents.
Aw, you poor thing. Oh no, Barry, I think he's lost his parents. Yeah, Barry, I think this kid's lost his parents. The 2 girls sat beside me and looked up at the ringmaster with a frown.
Well, of course he's lost his parents. He just said so.
What are we gonna do now? Yeah, what are we gonna do now, Barry?
Will you both just shut up? I'm trying to think.
The 2 girls laughed at his short fuse. Then Barry the ringmaster bent over, took my hand, and helped me up. He dusted the dirt off me and made me face him.
Okay, kid. Do you know your address?
I sniffled, and then I nodded. Barry, the 2 clown girls, and I barely fit in his car. He drove 2 hours just to take me home, and when we did get there, nobody would answer the door. It wasn't long until Barry lost his patience.
I know you're home. I can hear the TV. Now open up or I'll bust this door open.
From inside, I could hear my mom hiss. I told you to turn the TV off, Carl! Go get the door! Then the door opened and there was my dad, Gideon hiding behind his pants.
Yes? You seem to have lost your child. We've brought him back. Lost? What do you mean? We have one son and he's right here behind me.
My mom appeared too and confirmed what my dad said. Barry scratched his head.
Well, We found this kid in the circus grounds, and he says he lives here. His name's Blake. Are you sure this isn't your son? Nope. Never met him.
Blake could see the cold beads of sweat running down my dad's face.
Come on, man. This boy's clearly your son. Just take him back and we can be on our way.
Mom pushed me out of the door and shrieked, "Stop it! Stop it! Trespassing! This boy is trespassing! Get out or we'll call the police! Get out!"
What are we supposed to do with this kid?
I don't know. Throw him in the river. Feed them to your lions. We don't care. He's not our son. The clown girls got offended by that. Ma'am, we actually don't have trained lions or elephants or any such animals. It's inhumane. Yeah, that's so 1920s. Then, my mom slammed the door in our faces. The girls, still in their clown makeup, looked ridiculous when they frowned. I would have laughed if I hadn't just been shunned by my own parents. I think they don't want him, boss. Yeah, boss. I think these guys don't want him.
Ugh. I swear. You two, I know they don't want him. I heard them.
And just as swiftly as he flew down the rails, Barry the ringmaster turned to me and in a very gentle voice asked me,
"Do you have anywhere else you can go, kid? Grandparents? Cousins? Aunts?"
I shook my head.
"You want us to go to the cops?"
I shook my head again. And that was how I joined the circus. The girls' names were Lily and Violet. The trapeze artists were a married couple named Judah and Therese. The people on stilts were the sons and daughters of Rita, the lady who dressed up as a mystic and told people's fortunes. And there was Barry. Barry inherited the circus from his dad. He was born there, and he worked to make sure the circus lived on. Unfortunately, his wife died early, so he never got to have kids of his own. That's why he adopted me. I know it was probably lies, but on that day, Rita read my palm and told me I was destined for greatness. I smiled at her and thanked her politely. I was wondering in what world was it great to have your parents abandon you at a circus. Barry was tough, but fair. He was quick to anger, but also quick to care. Every time he would raise his voice at me, he'd catch himself and then apologize immediately. He cared for me like I was his own kid, and he never let me feel unwanted. When I'd get sick, the whole circus would crowd into Barry's car, and they'd all stay by my bed until I got better. I may have lost my mom, dad, and Gideon, but I found my real family. On slow days, Judah and Therese taught me the trapeze. When our shows got canceled, Lily and Violet would teach me how to juggle and dance on the high wire. Some days, Rita's kids would teach me how to walk on stilts. And on really, really slow days, Rita would have me dye her hair black while she read my fortunes. Barry made me watch him. He taught me how to perform, how to capture an audience, how to speak and be heard even above a thundering crowd. And little by little, I became a part of the circus. And little by little, I no longer got sick. Soon enough, I was flying off wooden beams and dancing around aerial silks that hung from the top of the circus tent, and people clapped for me. I contorted my limbs, and people would whoop and shriek in shock. Until one night, a woman approached me with a business card. My life changed that night. That woman was a talent scout, and she was the reason I got hired for the world's most famous, most expensive circus. The day I flew out for my very first show, every single one of my circus family were in tears.
"Don't forget us when you make it big out there, kid."
I kissed Barry and hugged him. Never. And I never did. I became one of the most famous circus performers in the world, and I helped my entire circus family get into the same company I worked for. Soon, we were back to performing together again. News of my fame spread and my old parents heard. They tried to contact me, and they tried to approach me on one of my shows. They begged me for tickets, and they kept telling everyone I was their son. They even went so far as to sue me for money. Money that I earned. I told everyone what they did to me, and the townspeople were so embarrassed to have them as neighbors that they kicked them out of town. I told everyone I had only one family, and then my real family was the circus, and my real dad was Barry. Dad